I got my hands on Black Myth Wukong on release, and if you're thinking about playing the game, I have a little review here over some things that you might be interested in before making your purchase, so make sure you stay tuned. We're going to go through all of it right now. All right, so first and foremost, this is my first ever review of a video game that I'm posting on YouTube. A lot of people have asked about my opinion and what I think of the game so far, so I figured I would put it into a place where everybody can review it all at once. But since this is my first time, I'm interested to see your opinions and what you think. If you enjoy the video or you want to see more like this, make sure you like the video and hit subscribe so it performs well and lets me know if I should do this some more. But without further ado, let's get into the review. So first and foremost, what means the most to me in a video game? Well, honestly, it has to have that wow factor and get me instantly hooked, which this game does to a T. If you have not seen already, it is floating around everywhere in YouTube Shorts, TikTok videos. Everybody is posting this intro scene because it is so amazing. Black Myth Wukong wastes no time getting straight to the action. You float across the sky as Wukong and go straight to somebody's front doorstep to put them hands on them.
Hello, monkeys!
This opening scene is very aesthetically pleasing and gives you a taste of the combat system right in the first 5 minutes. And with a combat system so rich in movement and abilities, why wouldn't they do that? So instantly within the first 5 minutes, I'm already so hooked into this game and I'm already invested to see where it goes. And as you get further into the game, you're going to see it has that great combat. It has beautiful aesthetics in every area you go to. The familiar upgrade system is easily navigatable for everybody playing the game. If you're used to games like God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, things of that nature, then you already know what you're getting into with these upgrade systems. And it is set in a fresh new setting of Chinese mythology, which we do not see a lot of in the video games these days. So let's break each of these categories down so you can get a full review on them. So first and foremost, let's get into the combat system. A lot of people have been comparing this game to Elden Ring and wondering if it's like that. Let me go ahead and be the first one to break the news to you. For better or for worse, this is not an Elden Ring or Souls-like combat system. While it does share some similarities, it is not that in any case. I will say the boss mechanics are more so like Elden Ring, where there is dodge timing, there is a repost that you have to do, there are multiple phases, there are stagger meters and things of that nature. For it to be called an exact replica of a Souls-like game is just far off the mark. Whenever I look at that, this reminds me more of a God of War style fighting, where you have skills and certain things that you lean on during the fight, rather than just the pure combat itself. So in Wukong, you're going to be relying heavily on your 4 skills that you have on the side, as well as attributes that you've upgraded in your skill tree, getting new abilities moving forward. Whenever you think of the combat system and the upgrade system in Elden Ring, you're thinking more so attributes that you use to get different pieces of weapons or armor and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, this combat system is still challenging. So I can see why people like to compare it to Elden Ring, because you do get that taste of that challenge in your boss fights. Whenever you repost an enemy or stagger them, there is that moment of relief where you get to just hammer them with attacks and do a lot of damage and then get set for the next barrage by the boss. So all in all, the combat system is great. You're moving with your character. You feel like you're very fluid in the fight, like you're in a dance with the enemy. It feels very good, very clean, very nice. But for me to say that this is like Elden Ring would be a complete lie. I feel like I feel more of a God of War or Ghost of Tsushima type fighting style. Next, let's move on to the visuals or the aesthetics, graphics, whatever you want to call it, of the video game. At first, I was kind of worried because when I loaded up the game, I noticed a little bit of clipping in the first few areas, and I was worried that this was either me, my hardware, or unfortunately thinking it was the game. No matter what I did to change in the settings, make it simpler on my hardware to handle, it just didn't seem like it was helping. So I think it might have been isolated to the game, hopefully not for everybody, but I was seeing that some other people were having issues with this initially loading the game. Luckily for us, it was an isolated incident to like the first few areas, and then as you progress further into the game, it actually kind of leveled out a little bit, so it kind of disappeared altogether. So if you run into that issue, please don't let that deter you from playing the game any further. Just keep progressing into the campaign and you are going to see that kind of level out moving forward. Apart from that though, the landscaping is beautiful. You have multiple different areas, from like rainforests to snow-filled areas to deserts. You have it all. And all of these areas interact with your character very nicely. Whenever you're moving through the water, you're going to see your staff actually actually moving the water as well. Whenever you're drudging through snow, you're going to see the character piling up snow around them, more like those God of War aesthetics. And while it's doing that, you can still notice that the game is performing at peak levels. And not to mention, whenever the game looks good and it performs good, it also helps you with that timing and that combat. So that is perfect for an action fighting game like this one. Next, let's move on to your upgrade systems, because honestly, that's what makes you more powerful in games like this, and it's the core of the game as a whole. What I also like about this upgrade system is it doesn't require a full respec. You can respec individual perks or individual sections of the tree rather than resetting everything. So if you upgrade something, you don't like the way it works, you can actually scratch that and put those points somewhere else without having to do a full respec. So that's really nice. And another thing, which is more like God of War than anything else, you can upgrade your gear, craft new armor sets, but also upgrade your specific weapon, which is a staff. You can get new pieces of that, just like in God of War. You can do a pummel on the axe. You can also do the tips of your staff and other attachments to that, giving it different perks and attributes. So the skill attributes as a whole are more like God of War, and that's what we're kind of used to when playing those type of games. You get skills and you get to upgrade those as you get them. Next, let's talk about this fresh new setting and fresh new game, particularly that came with Black Myth Wukong. Once again, like I said, you're going into Chinese mythology, which is a route that not a lot of gaming industries take for obvious reasons. But this coming from a Chinese developer, it makes sense. And honestly, Chinese mythology is a great universe that we don't see a lot, so it is actually refreshing to get to play in this universe a little bit. This feels like a brand new game and doesn't really feel like a rip-off of anything else. It's very fresh, very new. While yes, we did take aspects from Elden Ring, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Lies of P, games like that. You have, the repos, the stagger system, dodge heavy mechanics, things of that nature, upgrading gear and things. They took a lot of different aspects of different games and put them together in a very tasteful way, which makes it a new experience for the gamer. This is something that they did with the game that I can definitely respect. Usually I'm a stickler for ripping things off from other games, but it is very tasteful in this sense. Another thing that makes this game feel fresh is it feels like it is always on the gas pedal. What I mean by this is you go from one boss fight and you travel through a densely populated area very quickly and you get to another boss fight. It seems like you are always fighting something huge. And that plays into the aspect of never wanting to put the game down. I feel like I always want to get to the next area and there's never really a good place to stop playing the game. My only gripe about this game, they took a lot of different aspects from other games. The one thing that they left out was a map for fast travel. You go to shrine points and you have a list. You don't really have a map. I like knowing exactly where I'm at and how I am going in relation to the other parts of the game and how big the game is. How much am I getting into? How much am I biting off? Do I have time to go to bed and come back and do this tomorrow? How far am I in this area? You don't really know all that. You just keep dredging through bosses and just keep slaying enemies until you feel like I need to go to bed because I've been up way too long. So all in all, very good, very fresh take. Give me a map, please, please. I'm a father. I need to go to bed. I have to be a dad in the morning. Please give me a map so I know if I need to stop right now, if I'm close to finishing the area, or should I have stopped hours ago because now I've just bit off a whole 5-hour segment that I'm not ready to do yet. Please. But overall, in summary, let me just put it to rest, guys. This is not a Souls game. A lot of people have been comparing it to a Souls game. They're saying it's just a linear version of a Souls game. I would compare this more to God of War. I have made way more comparisons to God of War while playing this game than I have any other game. It feels just like God of War in Chinese mythology with a new character, new systems. But do I feel like the combat system is a little bit more challenging than God of War? Absolutely, because there's not many ways to parry the bosses or dodge the bosses. You have one dodge. That's how you do it, man. You dodge and you repost, you stagger. There's a very set combat system and you have to play into it or you get wrecked, you get rolled. So do I feel like the combat's more challenging than God of War? 100%. Do I feel like it's as challenging as an Elden Ring? Not necessarily. But that doesn't mean it's a bad game just because it's less challenging. It is very comfortable. You can play this game comfortably while still seeking a challenge. You can go into areas you're not ready for yet. If you want to, just keep powering through the game without upgrading stuff and farming for points. So if you want it to be more challenging, just keep going. If you don't want it to be as challenging, farm some points, upgrade some gear, get better before you go into another area. The pacing of the game is super nice. Like I said, it feels like you're always on the gas pedal and always fighting something. If you want to keep that pace, you can just go with the natural pace of the game and just keep slaying out. But if you want to slow it down, you can. So that's why I think the pacing of the game is nice. It allows you to kind of pick how fast you want to blow through it. We have very intense combat, very beautiful scenery. Is the game worth the buy? I believe, in my personal opinion, absolutely. I've played a lot of games similar to this. I just recently played through Elden Ring again. I love games like this. If you enjoy games like Elden Ring, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Lies of P, you are definitely going to enjoy this game if you buy it. It's definitely worth the purchase. That does it for this quick review of Black Myth Wukong. Hopefully this helped inform you before you make your purchase. If you enjoyed the video, please, once again, I remind you, please hit that like button, hit subscribe if you would like to, maybe ring the bell if you want to see more content like this. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.